here, and they're going to talk us through some projects they did earlier this year with Hampshire County Council. So I'll just hand over now to Nick and David.
Thanks, Chris. So hello, everyone. I'm David. Hi, Nick.
Hi, guys. I'm Nick.
So we've got some slides that we're going to share with you today. So I'll just bring those up now. Excellent. So we're going to talk to you about some work that we did with Hampshire Council, and it's something that we called the Wellbeing Automated Call Service, WACS. So this is helping 50,000 residents get support faster during the pandemic. So first of all, hello again. Yeah, so my name's David Sharaletta. I'm in the public digital practice at PA Consulting. I work with a lot of clients across the public sector to develop kind of new public and also staff-facing digital services. And on this bit of work, I had the pleasure of doing business analysis. And my colleague Nick.
Yeah, hi guys. So I do agile delivery within PA Consulting, both agile delivery, building things, but also transformation, and working across multiple sectors. And within WACS, I was sort of the project manager, product manager, sort of defining what we build next and where we take it.
And as Nick and I were saying the other day, actually, if you've got the kind of the before pandemic and after pandemic pictures here, because both of our hair was significantly shorter. This is what we looked like pre-March. So what we're going to tell you, what we're going to talk to you about today, as I say, is work we've been doing with Hampshire on the pandemic. So I'll start off by kind of telling you, by padding out a bit, what their challenge was. I'm sure it'll be familiar to you in your professional lives as well as your personal lives. Then talk about how together we shaped a response, which is Wellbeing Automated Call Service. We're going to think a little bit. Nick's got the kind of more exciting job of other applications of this technology, and of course there's Q&A. I understand there's a Q&A function throughout, so if you do have questions that pop up, stick them in there. We can see them throughout, and we'll come to them at the end. Okay, so the challenge. As I say, I think people will be familiar with this, but obviously from the end of March for 12 weeks, the government said that people who were clinically vulnerable and at high risk should shield, so basically not go outside at all. And this obviously had some immediate practical ramifications for people. If you can't go out, how are you going to get food? How are you going to get your medicine? You know, if you're clinically vulnerable, you probably, do have ongoing kind of, prescriptions that you need access to, and not everybody would have a support mechanism in place, friends or family or whatever, that could do that for them. And there's also the impact then of, potential for extreme loneliness, because if you're not seeing anybody, that could really, have a negative impact on you, and you may already be very vulnerable. So in acknowledgement of that, the government also asked councils to contact all of these people to see whether they needed help and to offer them help. And in Hampshire, that was 50,000 residents, which is obviously a significant amount of people, and they needed to get in touch with these people and provide support as long as shielding lasts. So acting fast was essential. We've got vulnerable people here. Some of them they might really have no support mechanisms. They might have no way of getting their medicine and their food, and they might not know how to get in touch with the council. So it was really important to get in touch with these people quickly. But Hampshire's call centre had 50 people in it, and it would have taken them, we worked out 280 days to make these calls. So 280 days is obviously not fast for somebody that's stuck at home and can't get food. So that wasn't going to work. A smarter, faster solution was needed. I'm sure this is a problem that councils all around the country obviously faced, and they met it in various ways. So let's talk about how we met it with Hampshire, which is to develop a service called the Wellbeing Automated Call Service. So what this is well, as the name suggests, we made automated calls to all 50,000 people on those lists. So it's a very flexible system, We spent a lot of time working with the council, making sure that the call script, as we call it, so the messages that people hear and the responses they're asked to give was kind of exactly right. So it allows us to contact all of those people very quickly, to play them tailored messages and to collect their responses. So we'll see in a minute kind of a bit of a video illustrating that, but you would receive an automated call, you would hear the messages, and then you could say yes or no to indicate, you know, what your current situation is, do you need help? And based on the answers you give, we're able to route you to the services that you need. As I say, it's very flexible, so very quick to change these messages. We work to get them right, we tweak them a little bit over time, but also you can flex how you want the system to behave. So we work through a lot of questions like, you know, if someone doesn't answer, how quickly should we phone them back? What if we get their voicemail? What if they, you know, hang up halfway through the call? So all of these elements can be tailored so that you know, the big trade-off really that we're always thinking about is let's not pester people, but equally if we've got vulnerable people out there who we're not contacting, you know, we need to make sure that we're there and we're getting in contact. So through this automated call, as I've said, you're asked questions about your situation, you're asked if you need help, and you respond to them. And as a result, we can either mark you as, well, actually, this person's fine. You know, this person's got family or friends who are helping them, and they've said at the moment that they don't need anything more from the council. So there's no need for one of our staff to have to speak to them. We can check in with them again in the future and see whether they need help. So you can see straight away that you know, that's an efficiency really. Then there's people who actually do need some help, and we were able to put those people directly through to the call centre, so they could speak to somebody who was trained, the real person, and they could talk to them, ascertain their needs, provide help, and also refer them on elsewhere in the council and to partner services. So that's the outline kind of structure of what we did. I've got a little video now, which is the test of my technical ability, whether this is going to play. It also does reference briefly some home from hospital capability, which we were looking at the same time. But as I say, the real situation here was people who are shielding. So
COVID-19 has driven a huge increase in the number of patients being discharged rapidly from hospital or shielding at home for long periods. There's increasing concern about the well-being of these individuals, but local government and the NHS doesn't always have the capacity to check in on everyone. In response, PA has been working with Amazon Web Services, and we've developed the Wellbeing Automated Call Service, or WACS. WACS can help by contacting a patient very soon after they're discharged to home, or by making regular check-in calls to people who are vulnerable to confirm that they've got all the support they need. Let's see how it works.
Catherine lives alone and is self-isolating and shielding. Her local council schedules a WACS call. Catherine's phone rings.
Hello, this is a call from your local council to check you are okay and to ask you a few questions about your current situation. Are you currently self-isolating?
Yes.
Are you currently shielding?
Yes.
Do you need help with any daily activities, such as food shopping or delivering prescriptions?
No.
Are you happy for a callback in 7 days?
Yes, that would be great. A week later, Catherine receives her scheduled follow-up WACS call.
Hello, we wanted to check in with you again to see if everything is still okay and you are managing at home. Do you now require support?
Yes.
Do you need help with any daily activities, such as food shopping or delivering prescriptions?
Yes. WACS puts Catherine through to her council, and she explains that she needs someone to deliver her medication. Catherine's prescriptions are delivered to her home. She is delighted with how WACS and the council met her needs.
The Wellbeing Automated Call Service benefits the sector by increasing people's independence and well-being, reaching people really quickly, avoiding escalation of need and therefore unnecessary cost, managing risk effectively so that staff can focus on people with the highest needs, and providing a scalable solution to deal with fluctuations in demand.
brilliant. So that was a video of how WACS works. And
yeah, thanks, David. So if I take over and talk about sort of some of the key stats that came out of the project. So obviously this was a time-sensitive project. People were shielding, and Hampshire were really concerned about the needle in the haystack, the individual that doesn't have friends, doesn't have family, who could go get their medicine, go get their food shopping, and was seriously in danger staying at home. So in response to that, and working with AWS, we managed to go from requirements, so speaking to Engaging Hampshire about the project, to going live and starting to call people within 7 days. Throughout the course of the project, because the automated bot was basically filtering out the people that didn't need support, we would only transfer those individuals that needed support to the call centre, the human call centre. Therefore, we reduced traffic on that call centre by 92%, which meant in turn that those individuals that needed support got it 12 times faster than they would have previously. And the stat that always surprises me was that of an automated call, so the way we set it up was that we called an individual. If they didn't answer, then 24 hours later we called them again, and then we called, if they didn't answer that one, we called them a final time through the automated call, and then it got escalated to another route. And throughout all of the people we contacted, after 3 calls, or up to 3 calls, 78% of those answered and completed the whole flow. So I was expecting this to be a lot lower, seeing as an automated bot, but yeah, we got really good attraction to it. And now, so this project was set up originally through the first shielding project, and once the shielding came into effect again, recently, Hampshire asked us to spin it up again and start calling individuals. And now we sort of, under the technology and their call centre was able to handle more calls, we are now calling up to 3.5 thousand individuals a day. And really, with the scalability that AWS provides, that number could be huge. It could be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. So we're able to quickly get in touch with people, yeah, really fast. So if you just move on to the next slide, David.
Oops.
So this is a bit more of a technical slide for those of you who are interested, but also a show of sort of where we've taken the technology since. So the first box is the CSV upload, and this is what the council do. So they upload a CSV that's just a choose your file, select the file, save it. That's all they have to do. That file has the individual's name and phone number in. That gets uploaded to our database, and then we start pulling from that database, working out who we need to call and triggering those automated calls. And the output of that is we highlight it on a dashboard, which you can see on the right hand side. This is the simplistic dashboard, which basically shows how many calls we made today, number of people we've got in the system, number of people we've got left to call, transfer rate, etc., etc. And the email and SMS boxes. So when we went live originally, this was only calling individuals, but we've built a prototype. We haven't gone live with the council yet, but where we want to take this product is that users can specify what they want their contact route to be. So do they want an email, do they want a call, or do they want a text? And based on their personal preference, it will fire them off that communication in whichever method they want. And then all of the output will be consolidated into one dashboard. So yeah, we can do 3 different contact routes, but show it in one single dashboard. Okay. And then this slide is talking about, so this is one application of the technology, and I think what's really powerful is that the underlying technology is we basically load people in and we contact them really, really fast. And supporting them during coronavirus has been one application of it, but I personally think there's hundreds of applications, and it's individuals like yourselves who really understand your sort of domain and challenges, it would be great to work with to understand where we can apply this next. So some of the ideas we're working on at the moment and working with some councils on is shown here. So the first one is Hampshire got extremely positive feedback so far from their residents that they're really happy that the council is checking in on them and someone is talking to them. Often it's the only call they get that week, and any person they speak to, even though it is a bot. But as I said, the feedback's gone down really well. So hopefully once Corona's finished with soon, hopefully, they are looking at whether they still want to provide the service as just a check-in service. So every 10 days, every 20 days, obviously up to the resident, but would it be nice for them to get a call to say, hey, how's it going? Do you need any support? Is everything okay at home, etc., etc. So that's one application. The second one is when councils provide care support to individuals and provide a care plan, they are supposed to annually review that care plan and check that it still meets the individual's needs. So often that's done at a human level, so the human calls up or goes to the individual and assesses whether the care plan still needs to be reviewed or changed. And we're looking at whether we can automate that process. So on a yearly basis or even more frequently, because the costs are so cheap, maybe every 6 months we schedule an automated call and say, look, your care plan's currently in place. How is it out of a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being excellent, so we can get some feedback on it. And then also, does it currently meet your needs? If not, then we'll put you through or schedule a call with a human to call you back and to reassess that. Thirdly, this came from another council who said the housing associations that they provide council housing for, scheduling or logging repair needs that are needed is quite challenging at the moment. And this is a space I don't know too well, but can we use WACS to provide that service? And then the final one is evacuation. So if there's a fire or a danger within a certain area of the council, can we immediately trigger phone calls to everyone within 20 miles of that area to say you need to leave the area? Or alternatively, there's upcoming roadworks in your street, via those sort of emails, text off. And then the final one's just a question mark. So it'd be really great to get everyone thinking about possible different applications of this technology. As I said, I think there's a bunch of applications. We just need to get our minds thinking sort of from a technical perspective. The technology is really flexible and we can change it to however we want. But what's really useful is to get sort of the problem statement. So what are your challenges? What are your concerns? What's painful? And how can we build the technology to solve that problem? Okay. So that is all we have time for. Well, we have 10 minutes, but all the slides we have today. So if we could open up for questions, as David said, I think people just comment in the question box, and when we see it pop up, and then we can answer the questions as we go. No questions yet.
Because you did such a thorough, complete job. No one can think of anything that they need to ask.
So maybe if we leave it open for a couple of minutes, and then if there's nothing else, we've got our emails there on the slide. If you wanted to get in touch to talk about the technology or how we've used it so far, we'll be more than happy to receive any emails. Bit of tumbleweed. Apologies if I missed this. So we've got a question. Apologies if I missed this, but what was the feedback like from residents? So yeah, I sort of touched on it before in terms of the answer rate. So I was expecting people to answer the phone, and this is new technology, right? So when we built it, we first trialed it with 5 users and then sort of scaled up from there. And personally, if I'm honest, I thought that when we trialed it, they would hear a bot, and especially bear in mind, there's a lot of stories in the news about spam calling and fraudulent calls coming through during coronavirus. I was expecting them to hear an automated call and just hang up immediately. But what we found was that 78% of all of the calls were answered and the flow was completed. And what I mean by that is either they went through and said, I need support, and transferred out, or I don't need support, don't call me again, or I don't need support, but please call me back in 10 days time. So overall, the response rate was extremely positive. In terms of sort of qualitative, the people I spoke to on the phone again, I was really surprised. Even though it was an automated call, they were really, really, really happy that people were trying to help them and support them, and just happy that they were checking in, which is why the council are looking at post-coronavirus. Do we still maintain the service? So we check in to see if people are okay. Obviously, there was the odd occurrence where people thought it was a spam call and complained, but not many. And you think about the success of it, that we managed to find those needle in the haystacks who really need to support. I think a few complaints weighing out the benefits. I think it was really positive. Okay, they've all come flooding in now.
Well, I was just going to say on that. Well, I was just going to say on that, Nick, as well. We did. One of the things we did is we made sure the call came from a local number, and I think that helped a bit. But yeah, I mean, just to agree with you, Nick, when on these voice things, it almost feels a bit counterintuitive. You think, oh, people aren't going to like this, or people aren't going to. But actually, people respond positively, and they know it's a bot and they know it's automated, and you think, oh, this isn't maybe not going to be such a good experience, but actually, yeah, people value it.
Indeed. So we've got the next one said, this would be a great solution for emergencies in the borough when you need staff resources to respond to say if they are free to assist. Yeah, definitely. That's a really good idea. Next one, would you know if some elderly people are reluctant to speak to a chatbot automated voice? They might hang up when they hear it's not human, worrying it might be a scam. Did you have humans calling after those that didn't answer after 3 times? Yeah, so as I said, 78% of all calls went through fine. Those 22% of calls, they were escalated. So after 3 attempts, then a human from the council called those individuals up and checked whether it was a dud phone or whether they didn't like the bot, so therefore didn't engage, or whatever reason. So that kind of reverted back to the old process that they were doing, which was manually calling individuals.
Yeah, and all this is configurable as well, depending on on your particular service and what your needs are. So in situations like this where you're worried about people's well-being, you for example, in this situation, right, we will get a human to phone you back, and so you can go through those scenarios. What if people repeatedly answer and hang up? What if they never answer? And in a service like this, obviously, the answer is, well, we need to get a human to call. But you can change that behaviour for different services, and indeed, as Nick said before, with different preferences. In different contexts, it might be, well, if we're just trying to get information to you or let you know, we could email you, or we could text you, or we could, yeah. So you just think this through in each particular situation.
Yeah. What's the next question? How do you encourage people to participate in the whole bot call, considering there are a lot of junk spam calls calling people? Yeah, agreed. There were a lot of junk and spam calls. I think I suppose there was 2-prong approach. We never asked for any information from an individual, so we weren't asking for the national insurance number, their address, their phone number, their bank details, whatever. We were just asking if they're okay and if they need support, and if so, they'd be transferred. We also worked with the council on a sort of social media strategy. So on their letters that they sent out, on their social media campaigns, etc., they said, you will, if you're shielding, you will get a call from this number. It is a genuine call. However, if you're concerned, you can call this number directly and it goes straight through to the call centre. So that definitely helped. Yeah, so one really good point. So did you also use AWS SNS to send SMS messages to users for follow-up? So for those people who don't know, AWS SNS is a text messaging service within AWS, and that is definitely something that we looked at and we actually built, but we didn't implement just because shielding was coming to an end at that time. So the idea was that after the first call, if they didn't answer, we'd trigger a text to say, by the way, this is the council calling. You missed the call, but if you need support, please contact this number, or if not, we'll call you back tomorrow. So that's definitely a feature that was on our backlog and we built, but we just haven't implemented yet. And then, have you deployed AWS's assistive technology for any councils? I don't know if that's a technology, assistive technology, or what that is. If the question is, have we deployed this to any councils, then the answer is yes for Hampshire. Someone's typing in that one. Just seeing if I've missed any questions. David, can you see any I've missed?
I can't, but Chris, I don't know if this is visible, has just commented around the AWS assistive technology point. There is an event on Thursday, so if that's an interest of yours, yeah. Chris,
yeah,
I get a royalty or a payment for plugging. Come to the session on Thursday on assistive technology.
Absolutely, thank you.
I think that's the Argenti work within Barnet in Hampshire. Yeah,
Thursday at 12.
On Thursday.
Cool.
Have any other councils taken this up? So at the moment it's just Hampshire. We had lots of interest within a huge bunch of councils. I think the challenge was how to turn it around and how to get the necessary approvals in time for the first wave. And then because of this lockdown, shielding wasn't mandatory, there wasn't too much interest in reigniting it. What we have seen to the previous slide where we talked about different applications, that's all ongoing conversations with lots of different councils where we're currently prototyping and trialing different use cases.
Yeah, and I think briefly on that as well, obviously the pandemic was kind of an exceptional circumstance and everyone just kind of like did what they had to do to respond. So there was a lot of kind of, a lot of overtime, a lot of scrambling, and I think one of the really interesting things about the potential for this is just having these capabilities to contact so many people just on an ongoing basis, and looking down those other types of applications, the opportunities that it offers when we can have the kind of capability that normally we have to scramble to react to a pandemic to, if actually that is part of the way we're able to interact with residents.
Okay, so we're nearly at 12:30, and I think the questions have dried up. So yeah, if anyone has any further questions or wants to get in touch with us, that's our emails there. We love this technology and we love talking about it. So please do reach out, and thank you for your time. Chris, are you closing today's session?
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick and David. It's really interesting. If anyone would like further information, just give us a shout at Digital Festival or Nick and David's emails that are on the screen. We'll be publishing a recording of this event too, if you want to watch it back, if you missed part of it. Just say thank you again to Nick and David. Thanks, guys.
Thanks all.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Chris.